so good. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Tech Talk and Tasty Treats, where I talk about something new in tech while baking a tasty treat. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about the smart canvas features that were announced at last week's Google I/O conference while baking some classic Hello Dollies. If you're interested in checking out the recipe, the link to the recipe is in the description below. So let's dive in. So last week was the Google I/O conference, and during this conference, a lot of new updates from Google were announced. But I have to admit, one of the things I am most excited about are the Smart Canvas feature updates that are set to arrive into Google Workspace this fall 2021. So I have been using Google Workspace for a long time, and in the last few years I've also been using it for work. And though I've been thoroughly impressed with the Google Workspace, there haven't been a ton of updates to it in the last couple of years, which is fine. But seeing that there were new updates was really exciting. So I'm gonna break down the 3 Smart Canvas features that I am most excited about, and I'll also touch on some of the other ones and talk about why I'm maybe a little more lukewarm on those updates. So the first feature I want to talk about is the Smart Link feature that was announced, which allows you to easily link to other documents from your document with just using @mentioned functionality. So before this update and currently, what you have to do is if you're writing in a Google Doc and you want to link to a different document that you have to search for that other document, copy the link, and then embed that link into your original Google Doc. Now, it's not a huge deal by any means to have to do this, but having the ability to just type the @mention and then find the docs that you're looking for is pretty exciting and should save a lot of time for people who use the Google Workspace. Now, the main question I have here is whether there's any semblance of two-way linking. So if I am in a Google Doc and I link to a Google Sheet, will I be able to see on that Google Sheet that it's linked to my original Google Doc? Now, I think if they were able to implement that functionality, it would add even more value for Google Workspace users. But if they aren't planning on building that just yet, Google, please consider this my formal feature request. Now, let's talk about the Google Doc building blocks that were also shown as part of the Smart Canvas demo. So when they were showing the demo of these Smart Canvas features, it was clear that there are different templates that you can use, which Google calls building blocks, that can help you get started in your Google Doc so that you're not starting from scratch. The 3 types of building blocks that were shown in the demo include meeting notes, brainstorming, and project roadmaps. So there may be more building blocks that they plan to release, but those were the only ones that were shown in the actual demo. Now, as they continued on with the demo, they showed us the brainstorming building block, which had different sections to it, including goals, pre-work, ideas, and next steps. And just by seeing the demo, this template looked pretty impressive. And I could see a lot of uses for the template going forward in my work as a product manager, but really for anyone who's planning to collaborate with a team in Google Docs. Now, I will say that whenever you're releasing any sort of template functionality, no matter what your product is, it's really hard to please everyone with your templates. So I may use a certain brainstorming structure in my documents, but that might not be the same structure that's used at other organizations. So Google has to find a way to make sure it's accommodating a whole host of different use cases. I hope that with this functionality comes the ability to build your own templates so that within your organization you can use your own custom templates each time you start a brainstorm or a meeting. If they introduce this custom templating functionality, I will be extremely excited about that. Though honestly, the building blocks that they did show look pretty comprehensive, and I can't wait to start using them. The next feature that I am really excited about, but also probably most uncertain about, is the Google Meet functionality that was demoed during the Smart Canvas overview. Now, in the demo, it looked like you could be editing a Google Doc and then start a meeting from that Google Doc, and people's videos would show up on the side and you'd all be looking at the same document. Now, I'm not entirely sure how this functionality is going to work, but I do understand the problem it's probably trying to solve. So currently, when you're in a meeting, you are talking to people and generally one person will be sharing their screen. So on one of your screens, you have to be looking at the person's screen as they kind of show you around and talk through their thoughts. But you also generally want to be on the same Google Doc that the screen sharer is on. So a lot of times I will be looking at one screen, watching someone else share their screen, but I will also have a Google Doc open on my other screen so that I can make edits as we go along. So it is kind of annoying to have two different screens up for a lot of my meetings. So this new functionality could be really interesting and could make it easier to just collaborate on Google Docs while you're in a meeting. Now, let's have some real talk. There were a couple things that were announced that I'm not as confident in or just not as excited about overall. One of the features that I'm not so sure about is the pageless view that they announced for Smart Canvas. It's never been a huge issue for me that Google Docs just assumes that my paper is 8.5 by 11. However, I wonder if it has been a really big challenge for other people as they're working in Google Docs, and I'm really curious to see how this pageless view actually provides value, because from my perspective, I don't think I have a problem with the current setup of the 8.5 by 11 sheets, but I wonder if they're solving for a problem that I didn't even know I had. I'm also a little bit cautiously optimistic about the assisted writing feature that Google announced. In the Smart Canvas demo, they showed this assisted writing feature where Google recommended a gender neutral term for the word chairman, and it recommended chairperson. And I'm really interested to see just how much value this assisted writing feature actually provides. And this is a hard one to show value in just a quick demo. I'm really interested to start using this assisted writing feature and to see if it stacks up to the likes of Grammarly and see if it's something that can actually beat out those third-party plugins. I think it's very exciting that Google is investing more into Google Workspace. It's a suite of tools that a lot of people use on a daily basis. And I'm really interested to see what happens to other platforms such as Notion and Coda and even Grammarly as they see Google starting to build functionality that's directly competitive with them. So I found this Smart Canvas announcement extremely interesting. I can't wait to start using the functionality in fall 2021, and we'll see if they continue adding even more interesting features to that Google Workspace. But now, most importantly, let's check in on those Hello Dollies, shall we? So I'm just gonna cut into those. Ooh, it looks so good. It's just something about a classic, you know? Yum. Okay, I'm gonna take my bite. There's something so comforting about like those classic desserts. I feel like I'm baking again with my grandma. So thank you so much for listening. I hope this was interesting. Let's stay tuned to see exactly how the Smart Canvas features actually are when they come out in fall 2021. And thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please press the thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. And if you want to hear more content from me, please subscribe. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you next time. Bye, friends.